perhaps you're gay. Is there a point to all these fancy clothes? With all these buckles from your head down to your toes? It's very simple, but I'm just another girl. It's not so easy, but I'm giving it a whirl. Is there something that you're trying to prove? With all the makeup and the way you move, are you looking for some sympathy? No, I'm trying to be the best girl I can be. It's very simple, but I'm just another girl. It's not so easy, but I'm giving it a whirl. Like my martinis dry, cosmos I won't deny. Smoke those long cigarettes. Thank God I'm not dead yet. Done all these crazy things, short of a wedding ring. Just another girl.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Calista Soul, and you're watching NLC Trans. Tonight I'm here with my dear friends and co-hosts, Tara Alexander and Renee Benoit. And anyway, there were some interesting things in the news we're going to talk about tonight. Yeah. And some upcoming events and things. I actually have a list. Oh, I don't. Where did I left it over. Yeah, sorry. You have the list.
List.
Okay, good. I have a list in my bag, and you have it in front of you. The list of our upcoming speaking engagements. But anyway, so what's going on in the world? Let's talk about Rick Santorum.
Oh, I don't have that one.
I do, actually.
I was going to save that for next week because...
Oh, okay, you want to save that for next week?
Well, I mean, we can introduce it. We can talk about it again next week because there's a lot of ties to that. There's a lot of background information.
Yes, certainly. I guess there's a little video that went along with that, too.
There's a 5-minute video. So Rick Santorum made the news recently for comparing gay marriage to a napkin and regular marriage to a paper towel.
Yes. Marriage is like a napkin, not a paper towel. Okay. Anyway, yeah, trying to explain why gays shouldn't be allowed to get married.
And he stressed in the beginning of the video that you can stand against someone's beliefs without standing against those people, which is true until the belief is one in equal rights.
Right.
You know, that's like saying, I don't know, I don't dislike Catholics. I just dislike their religion. And what Catholic's going to say, oh, is that all? You know, your religion is an important part of your life. It's not something that you're willing to dismiss.
Yeah.
And people go to great lengths. You went to great lengths, despite how the religion had treated you,
Yes.
to maintain your religious affiliation.
Yeah, it was.
And in the end, you won.
Yeah.
He's gone. I'm still here.
No, I shouldn't say. I don't mean it that way. You know, the win-lose thing. It's but just that that in the end, you're still going to the church of your choice, and the priest that gave you such a hard time, not because of you, but as it turns out, he's gone.
Yeah.
And so everything's happy now. But
Everything is on the easy.
yeah, which is that's good. You know, God works in mysterious ways.
That's the first thing I thought, but
You know.
I don't go to serve the priest. I
That's
go
right.
to serve God, and
Absolutely,
that's God's house. So
be sure to wipe your feet.
Yes, so you should be welcome there. So that's a good thing.
it was.
And I know, I tend to say things like that, win, lose, but the truth is that there's no winner and loser in that. It's good that you get to practice the religion
It actually made me angry, during that time that I stayed away, because I figured, why me be the loser?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my choice.
Yeah.
So we do have like 5 speaking engagements coming up in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
You want to rattle through them?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
When they are and the audience we're speaking
The
to?
first one is at the Kimball Hospital, coming up on the August 18th. We are doing a panel discussion there for the doctors and nurses and the emergency room staff. I was in contact with Deborah White, I believe her name is, this week, and everything's all set for that. So that's August 18th. The second one is at UConn, Chris Clemens, another panel discussion that we have coming up September 4th. Is that correct?
No.
September? Oh, that's not what I
It's
had.
20-something.
I had
21st?
20. Yeah, I think 21st.
5:30 on the
21st?
21st.
I have it on my bag. Anyway,
Okay.
it's yeah, that's coming up, but it's.
I just put them all on the calendar tonight, so.
Oh,
Oops.
you've got the exploding pen.
Sorry.
Sorry. Anyway,
This is what they call live TV.
Live TV.
yeah, I think that was. I think you're right. I think that's the 21st.
I think that's the 21st.
Okay.
But anyway,
That's,
we'll get that straight.
Uh,
That's UConn.
The next one is at Mitchell College, October 25th
Yep, that I'm sure is right.
at 7 p.m.
Tara Broccoli, and we will be sure to get her and some of her students on the show.
And actually, Chris Clemens has agreed to come on the show as well.
Chris Clemens is a doll, and he's as is Tara Broccoli. Tara Broccoli is a sweetheart, and it's always a pleasure to go see these people and to coerce them into coming on the show, because they're great people and a lot of fun. Anyway,
Well,
go
and
ahead.
it's always interesting, and I know we get a great response from the audience when we actually have a teacher and their students on, his or her
Yeah.
students on, because these are the kids that are growing up today, and folks out there will have questions for them.
Yeah, it's a good thing. So
How can you stand these people?
anyway, go on.
And the next one is on October 31st with the Southern
CCSU.
Yeah, Central.
Central
That's
Connecticut State College.
it's our nursing friend.
Yes, that's Jill Esplin.
Jill Esplin.
Jill Esplin was with UConn, and
She is transferred
and
to
is now at Central, and so we're going to go talk to her students at Central.
I'm going back to my alma mater.
Yes, that's very cool.
I have to go knock on some doors, see if anybody's around.
But we haven't. But anyway, okay. So that's the that's
that
on
one.
Halloween.
And the next one is also at UConn for, what's her name? Alicia?
It's Annette
Annette
Maruka. I think.
Maruka?
Yeah.
Somebody in the UConn nursing program.
Yes, and that is the UConn nursing. That is Jill's replacement.
Replacement.
Yeah. So we're still doing Jill's class, just with a new teacher.
And that's November 28th. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct. The 28th of November. Yeah. So we're doing UConn twice, and Mitchell, and Central.
Now, and the Rainbow Center probably is looking to have us sometime in the spring.
Yes, we have.
Floretta came.
We have been
Yes.
talking to Floretta, and
We need to nail her down again.
yeah, and she wants to do some stuff. It's always great going to the Rainbow Center at UConn. It's just such a cool place, and Floretta is wonderful. So we like that. We actually saw her recently at the party,
For the signing,
celebration
yep, for the
for
passage of HB 6599.
yeah. So that was cool. But yes, we got the speaking engagements coming up. That'll be it's going to be busy.
It's going to, well, in addition to those, there's a bunch of other weekend events coming up that we can rattle through if you want.
Sure.
Burn time.
Well, yeah, it's
so
sort of good. Before we forget, anyway.
Before we run out of time, which is what we usually do. So the first one is a reminder. This is still the yeah, nobody can see that. That's fine. This is the Macy's Alliance for Living Shop for a Cause. You can go to the Alliance for Living website. We have it as well on our website, thetallgroup.org. And this is a one-day shopping pass that you purchase for $5. The $5 goes to Alliance for Living, and that shopping pass saves you 25% off your purchases on Saturday, August 27th at Macy's online or Macy's stores. So you still have a little while to go and purchase that shopping pass and save 25% off and help the Alliance for Living. The Alliance for Living is the only HIV/AIDS support organization in southeastern Connecticut, and their little blurb here says they provide case management, housing program, food pantry and meals, employment counseling, promoting the elimination of HIV/AIDS within the entire community of southeastern Connecticut through educational prevention program called Positively Speaking. So that's a great cause to support. $5 even in tough times. That goes a long way, and it'll save you 25% off your purchases. So I think going back to school and other things. We have Connecticut Pride this year, which has been historically in June at the Bushnell Park. This year will be Saturday, September 17th at the Bushnell Park, usually over by the theater.
Yes.
Not by the fountain, the theater and the fountain, not on the other side of the park. It's an all-day event, and there's a long list of performers that are going to be there. It should be
It's always fun.
It's always fun, and like last year, Rachel Lutzker was the MC. And
she always is, although she's
did a
pregnant.
great
I'm
job.
not sure when she's due, so it might not, it might not be her this year. I don't know.
And last year they had some from the Cirque du Soleil. They had some of the stilt walkers come over.
It was cool.
We're planning to have a booth there, and we got confirmation tonight that L&M Medical is willing to help us or let us help them distribute safe sex material.
Yeah.
To the
They're always
to the Pride goers.
They're always good about supplying stuff for us to
The
give away.
Pride this year was moved from June to September to try to involve schools and the youth and tie into the anti-bullying campaigns that are going on in the state this year. So there ought to be a lot of focus on that. And Sister Funk will again be playing Connecticut Pride. If you haven't heard them, they're an excellent all-female band and a very good show, very entertaining, energetic show. Saturday, September 17th for Connecticut Pride. This is Sunday, September 18th, the day after Connecticut Pride, is Six Flags Out in the Park.
Oh, that's right, I saw that.
Out in the Park is a day that Six Flags up in Massachusetts sets aside for GLBTQIA and friendly ally folks to, you can go buy a pass and they'll open the park that day to pass holders only. There's music, entertainment, rides, friends await you out in the park, an exclusive event for the GLBTQI community as well as friends, family, and supporters. All are welcome to attend. Event tickets are required to attend out in the park. So showing up at the gate, I think you can still buy tickets the day of, but you have to buy the special out in the park tickets. They also have a deluxe package for $40, which includes the park admission, free Kodak photos, and although it got cut off here, I believe there was a coupon for lunch.
Yes.
Typically, there's free parking, free lunch, free photo, in addition to the park admission, which I think was $31 after 8:30. So you have till the end of the month you can get tickets for $28. Or the deluxe package for $40, and after the end of the month, the tickets go up to $31. But even so, $31 to get into Six Flags. Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. I remember bringing a Coke can to get it down from 40.
Yeah.
But
So that should be a fun event.
It should be a fun event, yeah. And keep in mind that with the park only open to event goers, the lines shouldn't be nearly as long as they would normally be.
Yeah. So you get to ride the roller coaster 300 times if you want.
Oh, I only did it 70.
Yeah.
So that's Sunday, September 18th, out in the park, up at Six Flags in Mass. And then the following weekend, I don't know if you remember Queer Carnival last year.
No.
Queer Carnival was put on. It's up in Massachusetts. It's a fundraiser for LGBT Coalition of Western Massachusetts. I wanted to get their name right. Well, Queer Carnival was a really big success last year, and they do this large festival every year, and every year they have a new theme. Last year it was Carnival. This year it's Rainbow River Fest at the Holyoke Canoe Club.
Oh, cool.
2 miles from Northampton on Route 5. Saturday, September 24th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Adults are $10 in advance or $15 at the door. 20 years old and under are free. They will have a beer garden with proper ID. They have all kinds of events and entertainment. Youth tent, Zen zone, for meditation and relaxing and such. And the proceeds all go to benefit the LGBT Coalition of Western Massachusetts.
Do we bring kayaks to that, or what's the deal?
I'm not entirely sure. I would expect, being at the canoe club, that they probably have some water sports available, but I'm not sure if sort of canoeing, although ironically it's in Massachusetts, it's on the Connecticut River.
Yes.
The banks of the Connecticut River are set to be the home of Carnival's successor, the Rainbow River Fest. Our festivals are bold, revolutionary ideas that bring together a range of ages, races, and genders within the LGBTQIA community, combining music, performance, art, games, educational workshops, demonstrations, and the Zen Zone, a healing area for body, mind, and spirit.
Cool.
The unique combination of celebration and reflection, where our community has been and where we are going. We know it's important to provide an opportunity for young and old to hear and learn from one another's stories. Our Riverfest offers such an opportunity.
Your printer's running out of ink, isn't it?
No, it's on draft to save ink. So you can't read my printouts.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
So that's September 17th is Connecticut Pride. September 18th is out in the park. September 24th is Rainbow River Fest.
It's a busy month.
Busy, yeah.
On top of
Yeah.
during the week.
It's going to be a busy fall.
And then in November, on 11/11/11,
Okay.
starting on 11/11/11, November 11th begins the Transcending Boundaries Conference in Springfield. It's a 3-day conference, that Friday through Sunday. They're still in the initial planning stages for it. They're accepting workshop ideas, but Transcending Boundaries has been a big successful conference every year in the past years it's been going on. They say host an annual community conference to celebrate diversity of gender, sex, sexuality, and relationships, exploring the entire spectrum of the queer acronym. The Transcending Boundaries Conference presents a variety of workshops, lectures, and entertainment, from transgender to intersex to genderqueer, from asexual to bisexual, from kinky to polyamorous, and all the in-betweens. We discover we are not one facet of a single continuum, but the combination of characteristics in a complex identity. We welcome everyone to attend, including friends, families, allies, and professionals who want to support the queer community. This year's theme will be Beyond Binary. Hence, it's on 111111.
Sure. That makes sense. Okay.
Beyond binary, male, female, straight, gay or lesbian, man, woman, committed, single. In a world of either ors, where do those of us that don't quite belong in one category or the other fit? Gender, sex orientation, relationships, and identities don't always meet the definitions society gives us, but that doesn't mean that they're any less valid. Join us in celebrating the neithers, boths, in-betweens, and more at this year's, as we go beyond the binary on 111111.
Very cool. Okay. So
yes,
that's what's going on.
September, October, November, going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities.
Yeah. And I'm going to make cheesecakes.
And for Connecticut Pride, the interesting thing is this year, is the 30th Connecticut Pride.
Wow.
Which means, and I don't know that it's been done every year. I don't know that it's 30 consecutive annual years. But at the very least, goes back to 1980.
Yeah.
I wonder if they say.
That's impressive. Anyway.
Yeah, no.
So we will be there with cheesecakes, and of course we'll be giving away condoms, as usual. And,
Safe sex
and
kits.
we'll try very hard not to lock Renee in the car like we did last year.
That was, yeah, very exciting.
We learned that the child safety locks on my back doors work perfectly well.
They sure do.
Sorry,
Kind
Renee.
of push the panic button.
It was very, very hot. We locked Renee in the car and walked away.
We got out, shut the front door, started walking away, and Renee's sitting at the glass.
Let me out. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was fun. We actually have a phone call, I think. So we should probably take that before I go off on a silly tangent. So, anyway. Good evening, NLC Trans. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, guys. I have a question. I mean, no disrespect or anything.
Okay.
But what made you guys want to become females?
Ooh. Wow. Well, that goes back pretty much to the beginning, I guess. Certainly it's one of those things that was it's sort of an intrinsic part of you, I think, and you come to realize. I came to realize anyway at a very young age, and I think most of us did, that was what I was. And there is certainly some science, and maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about the science of the way the brain works and stuff. But certainly, it's not so much a choice. And I know there are people out there that would try to tell us that this is a lifestyle choice or something. It's not. It's something that is an intrinsic part of you, sort of your gender identity, and certainly at a very young age. I realized that the one that was assigned to me was wrong.
Getting up in the morning and being miserable with yourself is not a pleasant thing to experience until you make the final choice.
Yeah. So you go through in my case anyway, I went through a lifetime, or a major part of a lifetime, of being miserable because I didn't feel right. I wasn't right in my own skin, and
yeah, it's kind of it's not so much choosing to be female, it's that even in the case of the diagnostic and statistical manual that therapists use to classify conditions, it's a question that when your outward appearance and the way the world sees you doesn't jive with the way your brain is set up, it causes a great deal of distress, emotional stress, depression, in my case a lot of anger, and it really does impede your daily functioning. And when it impedes your daily functioning to the point that you can't function on a day-to-day basis like a regular person, then it becomes paramount to do something to fix it. And there's not an effective way to change the way your brain is wired. So the treatment options are to change the way you appear so that the world starts to react to you. And specifically with things like hormone therapy, it brings the hormones in your body, the chemical balance in the body, back in alignment. What Callie was talking about with some of the science, it's difficult to cut up a person's brain and test it while they're still alive, so there's not a lot of detailed analysis, but what they have been able to discern, what they believe happens, is that the brain, when a fetus is developing in uterus, the brain and the body structures develop at different stages, and they develop male or female characteristics based on whether the mother's body basically washes the fetus in estrogen or testosterone, to keep things simple. And it's believed that for one reason or another, the fetus gets different signals during development, and the body may start developing one way, and as the more complex brain structures, before they solidify, they come under a different influence. And so you may have brain structures that are actually designed to work on estrogen, and the body may have been developed under testosterone. So you may have a baby that's born, and the doctor takes the baby and says, well, there's a penis, it must be a boy. But there's no way to look at the infant's brain and tell whether the brain has been wired to receive estrogen, more estrogen than testosterone or more testosterone than estrogen. And so it's sort of that lifelong journey that you start to identify with, well, I really want to be doing what those girls are doing over there. And when you start to grow up, the incongruity, the gender dysphoria, the dissonance you feel is this incredible cloud that really does impact sort of daily functioning. It's incredibly distracting, even like driving a car or trying to concentrate at work. There's this incredible stress. Anyone that's gone through, and most people have something in their life that has been an incredible stressor that has just impacted their life in a significant way that they couldn't really focus on something or function on something. So there's usually something most people can relate to with that piece of it that is just so distracting. But it really does come down to more recognizing who you are and finding that path in your life that allows you to express yourself and allows the world to see you as you see yourself. It's there's some science behind it that shows that it has probably something to do with the way the brain developed in utero.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a long-winded answer.
Well,
to a short question.
But it's a good answer, and so yeah, it's one of those things that
Well, I thank you very much because my brother's going. He's a male, but he wants to become female, and I was trying to understand where he's coming from, and I appreciate everything.
Oh, absolutely.
All the information you gave me, and I'm glad that you took the time to explain that to me.
We're happy too. That's one of the reasons we're out here, to try and help answer questions if we can.
Mm. Thank you for the question. It was a wonderful question.
Not a problem, and thank you guys all very much. You guys have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That was very nice, yes.
Yes.
But it's interesting, though.
Because basically at our panels, that's what we spend 2 hours doing, is talking
Yes.
about that question. So the 5-minute answer is short and to the point.
Yeah. But it's sort of, it's always interesting to me, it's how common it is to find, it's sort of an uncommon condition, but when you start looking around,
There's a lot of people out there who are afraid to come forth and
yeah. But it's just,
go beyond that.
you talk to anybody, and just about everybody knows somebody or has a family member, and so, I think it's less common than it used to be because people are less afraid now. But,
Yeah.
Well,
and on a broader scale, gender variance,
yes.
where people don't conform to society's definition of what men should do and how men should act, or what women should do and how women should act. Gender variance is very, very common. Well, we know it's at least 10% of the population, and it's probably much more like 20-25% of the population experience some kind of gender variance from societal's expected norms, from the stereotypes of men and women, and probably even higher. But anyway, I digress. The condition of actually wanting to go through some form of medical treatments, be it hormone therapy or surgical alterations and whatnot, and living your daily life as with a gender expression that's different from the one that was assigned you at birth, is the specific condition we're talking about. It sounds like the caller's sibling was struggling with as well. And,
it's a very, very real thing, and I know there are people out there that don't quite understand that, but and I can understand it because you can't really know what this feels like unless you go through it. And so, you know, I sort of, you have to kind of take our word for it.
The closest analogy that gets drawn is sort of sexual identity.
Yes.
You know, your sexual orientation. You really won't know until you hit puberty and find yourself attracted to somebody whether you're going to be attracted to men or women, until the attraction actually hits. And there are some people that have been surprised in their 50s, dating men their entire lives. This woman dated, you know, men her entire life, and in 50 fell in love with a woman.
Yeah.
Never been attracted to women before, but something in this person clicked.
Yeah.
And you know,
well, it's much more fluid than people realize, I think.
But I mean, that's the closest analogy, and that still doesn't give a large portion of the population really a frame of reference to understand.
Yeah.
Some people go through it with their religion, where they struggle with their faith, and at some point in their life, they find a path to God, or they find a path away from God, and they end up being very happy with that. But
yeah,
because that's what feels right in their life. That's what they know is right for them.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, and certainly in our community, the transgender community we certainly have a lot of problems as far as people that are in this community sort of understand misery all too well, and that for instance, the suicide rate, which is astronomical in the community, because it's very, very difficult, and we can all attest to this. Growing up in what is clearly, and it's not clear when you're very young.
It's not clear when you're very young, but
clear.
You know there's something wrong.
It becomes clearer as you get older that it's just, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is not what I'm supposed to be. And in my case, I went through a lot of years of believing there's nothing I can do about this, and I have to deny it. I have to try to live my life.
You just have to suffer with it.
Yeah. And eventually, you know, in the community, we like to say you fight this as long as you can, and then it wins. Because it does. Eventually, you have to either do something about it.
And fortunately, that's changing for the younger generation.
Yes.
That doesn't have to fight with themselves for decades.
Yes.
They're able to talk about it now when they hit puberty. Because I know for me, you know, as a child, I knew there was something wrong. There was something fundamental about my life, and I was angry, but I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't put my finger on it.
And it wasn't the alien thing.
No, it wasn't the alien thing.
I'm kidding.
No, my parents abandoned me from another planet. No, it wasn't the alien thing.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
They're going to think I'm crazy now. So I knew I was angry at something, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And it wasn't until I started getting into middle school, and I had access to some good library books, and I started to hit puberty, and that things started to click. And it was like, you know, I know because my teachers are telling me that I can expect to hit puberty and see these changes. But those are the changes that I want to have happen. That those are the changes that feel... Facial hair just feels so wrong. Body hair is so wrong. And you know, and that's when things for me start to click, is sort of when you hit puberty. Unfortunately, nowadays we see when kids hit puberty, or as they start to approach puberty, 7, 8, 9, 12 years old, they start to be able to say, no, I'm a little boy, or I'm a little girl, and identify that and talk about it. And you know, I mean, nothing medically is going to get done until they're 16, 17, 18 years old. But at least being able to recognize and acknowledge that, and not have the stigma associated with it, where not only are you hating yourself and struggling with it and fighting yourself, but you're actively trying to hide it from the rest of the world, which anybody that's had a big secret that they're afraid to get out knows that will eat you alive.
Yeah.
It's incredibly stressful.
Well, even in the school systems now, that they're talking more and more about the education on...
Even bullying and safe zones and things like that are a great help. But talking specifically about it being okay to have, you know, same-sex feelings. It's okay to have cross-gender feelings. Those kinds of conversations aren't probably happening in enough places. But they're happening. They're starting to happen.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, certainly things are changing, and that's a positive thing, I think. But it's interesting, and we talk about the receptors in the brain, and I can say from personal experience, and I suspect that you guys can back me up on this. But we talk about the receptors in the brain and the estrogen and the testosterone, and I can tell you that was one of the biggest things, and it was a little bit surprising. I knew it was going to happen, but it was to the point of being surprising when I finally got to the point that I started my transition. And that's a whole long story that I could tell you, but I probably won't right now. But
You'll have to come to one of the panels.
But once I got on androgen blockers and got rid of the testosterone and started estrogen, and now having had the surgery, I don't have a testosterone problem anymore. But it's still obviously still on HRT.
It's not a disorder. It's just a testosterone problem.
It is, but once getting rid of the testosterone and getting onto the estrogen, aside from very significant changes, physiologic changes.
Not being able to burn fat as efficiently.
Yeah, one of the there's a lot of changes that happen. It's pretty amazing. But one of the most amazing things, and the thing that blew me away, probably was the way that I was able to think, and the way sort of my mindset and my sense of well-being and the way I thought. It was just like I can see clearly now for the first time in my life. There was a major change.
The testosterone's gone.
Yeah, exactly. A little Johnny Nash there, but yeah, it's true. It's sort of like the cloud, the veil lifts, and it's like, yes, this is the hormone I was supposed to be on.
Yeah, and it's if anyone's ever dealt with depression, it's depression is often described as a chemical imbalance in the brain, and what we've learned about transsexuality and probably cross-gender identification in general, gender queer identities probably as well. Receptors in the brain really are tailored to receive just one chemical. So it depends on how many of those receptors you have versus how much of the chemical your body's producing. And in cases of depression, they say it's that, the brain is not getting enough dopamine to fulfill the requirement of the receptors. It's just not producing enough. There's stuff blocking the transmission. And so the theory on transsexuality is much the same, that you have a large number of estrogen receptors, but you have testes, and they're turning dihydrous androgen.
DHT is dihydrotestosterone.
I always mess that up.
But the 5-alpha reductase enzymes, type A and type B 5-alpha reductase enzymes, convert testosterone to dihydrotestosterone, which is what makes your hair fall out. But
yes,
DHT
guys who are going bald, testosterone is what makes
the
your hair fall out.
DHT is a very, very potent form of testosterone, which will make your hair fall out. But that's why one of the things that early on that you take are 5-alpha reductase enzyme inhibitors.
Propecia.
Propecia and
Proscar.
Yeah, all those things.
They reduce the testosterone in your body so your hair doesn't fall out as fast.
Dutasteride and
Dutasteride, yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want I don't want to confuse everybody
for the audience.
But it is amazing the way. I mean, we are basically chem labs. We really are. The human body, we produce all sorts of hormones and chemicals and things, and it all has to sort of work and be balanced, and everything has to do what it's supposed to do. And if you get a situation like we've had where there's something wrong,
something's out of balance,
it can be very devastating. It can be, and we know from the community, and it's a very tough existence.
There's a great deal of, much like meditation or prayer for a lot of people, there's a great deal of contentment and calmness that comes into play in one's life when you can present as your desired gender as the gender that's right for you, and the world sees that and responds to it in the way that society would typically respond to that gender. There's a great deal of contentment that comes with that social acceptance and that self-acceptance. But on top of that, there's, for those folks that have a significant imbalance, getting your hormone levels righted is a really important part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And making sure that the person gets the hormones through an endocrinologist and not black market.
There's very
dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the community have done that, gotten black market hormones and self-treated.
Well, but it's like anything. It's anytime you're going to be putting potent, powerful chemicals into your body, your body chemistry should be monitored.
Yeah.
And
otherwise, you can die.
Otherwise, you can die. And yes, being on a hormone therapy regimen, even if it's just a postmenopausal one, you still get monitored because you need to know if things are out of whack so they can be adjusted. Whether or not you feel right that day is not a great barometer of the chemical makeup of your bloodstream. And blood clots and liver damage are real problems if you don't have the balance right.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I know that there are lots of people out there that want to say it's all in our heads. Well, actually, it is sort of.
And in a way, it kind of is.
but it's not a lifestyle. It's not our imagination. It's a very real thing. And science is and one of the problems that we've sort of had for years is that there wasn't a lot of science to back us up because the numbers were so small. They're so, it's such a small percentage of the populace, and it turns out it's not such a small percentage, but it was always thought to be a very small percentage of the populace. And so nobody would study it. There wasn't any funding to study it, and some of the studies
for fear of persecution, people hid.
Well, some of the studying that was done for other reasons, and it's sort of collateral information that came to be because of other studies, and so the information is now starting to be there, and science is actually starting to back us up. Guess what?
Yeah.
We weren't imagining this. It's very real. And so there are a lot of changes being made. Just, even some of the terminology is changing. It's going to become gender incongruity.
Right. In the next release of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, it's currently it used to be referred to as gender dysphoria, which I kind of like that term. But it became known as gender identity disorder, at least recognizing that this is your gender identity.
Right.
It's a problem with your identity not comporting with your expression, and in the next revision, which is due out in 2013, unless additional changes get made, they're going to change the category to gender incongruity, meaning that your gender expression and your gender identity are incongruous.
And in regards to that, going back to the legislature.
I was thinking of that too.
They had a big problem with the identity expression and the gender identity.
Well, and when HB 6599 was being debated in our state, it was being debated on the floor of the House, the State House, the General Assembly. One of the things that came up from a local representative, he made the assumption that there couldn't be more than 15 or 20 transsexuals in the state.
Yes.
Because in the last several years, in the last few number of years, there had only been 10 or 15 claims filed with the
HRC.
No.
Wasn't with the
Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities.
Oh, okay.
CHRO.
CHRO. Yes.
So if there were only 10 or 15 claims filed, there couldn't be that many more people. And
Which, of course, assumes that everybody that's trans has filed a claim.
has experienced discrimination to the point that would qualify for remediation under the 2000 ruling, and then B, yeah, finds a lawyer that's willing to push forward with it. We have experience with it within our group of people that have been discriminated against, who've lost their jobs for no other reason than they didn't like the transition and it was convenient. But it's really tough to prove under the law that that's the reason, and so you can't bring a case,
right,
non-effectively. On top of which, we know in the town we live in, at one point there were 4 just in our town.
A small town.
A small town, and you know, it's.
Yes, this particular legislator was, well, yeah, you talked to him, but yeah, it was pretty pathetic.
Yeah. Why are we going to pass a law for only 15 people? Well, the reality is that the cross-gender identifying or transgender, transsexual, cross-dressing community, the large umbrella that we all fall under is probably much more like 10 to 12% of the population.
Yes. And
on top of which, protecting someone's gender expression, even if it's in the same line as their gender identity. You know, a lot of times you'll see women who have some more masculine traits get discriminated against because they're not womanly enough. They don't identify as men, they don't think they're guys, but they fall on the masculine side. Their gender expression is too masculine for somebody's stereotype of what a woman should act like. Or you get guys that we don't have good words in our culture, but we say they're more sensitive, as if that's a bad thing for guys. But you know, who have more effeminate traits, who might be softer guys or something, that
yeah,
you know, who clearly get discriminated against by more masculine guys.
Yeah. And should be protected, and certainly yes. So this isn't the legislation wasn't just about protecting us.
No.
And
in fact, there have been a number of kids in the rash last year of youth suicides that were accused of being gay based on their behavior. These were not kids that anything was known about their actual desires or their personal lives, but they were accused of being gay based on their behavior.
Yeah. And some of them actually took their lives.
And some of the kids who took their lives weren't gay, even though they were being accused of it.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate that
as if there's some one way that gay people act.
Yeah. We certainly have seen that isn't true.
Interestingly, there's this new TV show. We have a few minutes left. It's another one of these reality dating shows. It's like Most Eligible Austin or something.
Yeah,
and
I don't follow any of those things, but
they're commercials. I watch commercials, and one of the guys on the show is you know, these are all attractive, young, eligible, rich people, and one of them is gay. One guy is gay. He says something about he's driving a real nice car. He goes, I'm a real grease monkey. He says, I like getting into the car, and if you want to talk about Armani, I'm not the gay guy for you. And it's like, well, you know, we had on the show Ron Suresha.
Yeah.
He and his husband are bears.
Yeah.
The whole bear community is a whole nother expression of
that's so cute. The whole bear thing is so cute.
Maleness within the gay male population.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole range of expression, both for men and women, within the gay and straight population. That there's no one way anybody acts.
Yeah.
We just have our societal stereotypes and how well you conform to them, and how much we expect you to conform to them well.
Yeah. Ron and Rocco, they were. They've moved to. They're actually on the other side of the state now, but Ron and his husband. He refers to Rocco as his husband. So cute. Rocco was our doctor for many years, and
Dr. Rocco.
Yeah, great guy, and unfortunately not my doctor anymore because he's practicing in New York, and it's just too far away. But I was a patient of Rocco's for for like 20 years. Just a great guy, and anyway, they're just a really cute couple.
Well, in the last minute or so, if you want, I can talk about Bert and Ernie real quick.
Yes, talk about Bert and Ernie.
Because this is
That's
funny,
so cute.
and we'll probably go out on this. There was a petition launched recently, but I'm going to start at the back end of the article real quick and go forward. In 1994, a North Carolina preacher attempted to get, this is the Sesame Street Bert and Ernie, attempted to get Bert and Ernie banned because of their close living relationship, which he qualified as, quote, blatantly effeminate characteristics, he said on his radio show. If this isn't meant to represent a homosexual union, I can't imagine what it's supposed to represent. Now, Sesame Street 20 years ago released a statement that they've stuck by since that says that they are puppets, not humans. And like all Muppets created for Sesame Street are designed to help educate preschoolers, Bert and Ernie are characters who help demonstrate to children that despite their differences, they can be good friends. However, recently an online petition was launched asking PBS and Sesame Street to acknowledge that the long-term roommates Bert and Ernie are gay and allow them to get married.
That is so cute.
The petition is posted on change.org, created by Lair Scott, Shane Cowart, Alex Maggs, and Mark Szabo. Currently has more than 250 signatures. Their proposal has drawn opposition from the New York Daily News, which said in an editorial on Today that, quote, some stages of life, for example, the years from 2 to 4, must be walled off from the passions of adults.
Wow.
And that it's absurd that the Cookie Monster denigrates cookies as a sometime snack and pronounces his zeal for eating eggplant. They said, the only hands Henson ever intended to go up Ernie's horizontally striped shirt or Bert's vertically striped one were human puppeteers. They say, rumors that Bert and Ernie represent a gay couple have long circulated with the children's television network, now known as Sesame Workshop, with them issuing that denial as early as 1993.
Well, anyway, that's amusing. So, Bert and Ernie. Okay, so we have to go.
Sorry.
But anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Bye-bye.